All right. Thank you so much for joining me. Kyle Patterson with Thrive News. Today, I'm here with Shawn Marcell, president of Life Surge. Shawn, thank you so much for joining me today.
Kyle, it's an
Pleasure.
honor to be with you. Thank you.
Yeah. So I want to talk about your role as president of Life Surge. And before that, you were COO. Let's start by just tell us a little bit about Life Surge. You've had some incredible success, and it seems like the movement's really taken off. But for those who don't know, fill us in real quick.
Yeah, Life Surge is a powerful organization. It's really an education organization. We teach people how to create and multiply resources for kingdom impact. But we go to cities all across America with these large 1 day events where honestly thousands are gathering. I think we're going to have almost 200,000 people live and in person at a Life Surge event. And it's really a day of inspiration, vision casting, but really to kind of hone in on the fact that God has given me gifts and skills and talents that He wants to anoint for His glory. He wants to use my life in the marketplace to not only provide for my family, but to promote His kingdom on the earth, to steward those resources well, to ultimately make impact in the lives of people. And we have just seen an unbelievable. We launched Life Surge, Kyle, when COVID was just announced. Now, that's not a great business plan. So now, to start a live event business when COVID is just kicking off. But God knows what we don't know. And even though it was a struggle and it was a challenge, we know that God really strategically aligned it during that time because at that time, people were getting hungry to come back and gather together after being locked up for so long. And so it was just a great timing. And also, some of the best communicators in the world didn't have a place to communicate, and so we kind of ran in when everyone else was running out, and it was just really a God timing. But it's been amazing to watch what God has done over the last 4.5 years through the organization.
Amazing, amazing. So you started during COVID. So tell me about that real quick. So were you able to gather, or did you go virtual, or how did you navigate that time?
It was super hard at first. So Joe Johnson, the founder, the CEO, well, he's the founder now. It was the CEO for the whole time. He really just had a vision to see God's people multiplying resources, creating margin in their lives through learning how the financial markets work and real estate work and business work. And so, yeah, so it was hard because we tried to launch. The only place we could think of was Florida because Florida kind of got past COVID really quickly. Just decided, hey, we're getting back to work. So we tried there, but there was four, I think, almost six false starts. I picked a date, picked the location, and had to delay. Had to delay because we knew that Christians weren't going to gather wearing masks and social distancing. It just wasn't practical to do a large gathering like that at that time. And so we just kept at it until I think Tampa was the very first event, followed by Fort Lauderdale, and then eventually Orlando, and then it was it was tough. No people, even though they committed to tickets, didn't show up, and it was just a struggle. But that's business, and so we knew that God had given us a clear vision. We felt like God was going to do something special. But I got to tell you, thank God that Joe Johnson is a great entrepreneur that's a visionary because he was willing to push past it and rally the team to just stay the course. And it was not easy, but when it did finally open up, we recognized right away there was a special hunger and a special desire in God's people to really begin to step into this sense of calling in a marketplace.
And now, just in the first half of 2025, you've
Mm,
seen over 10,000 people make decisions for Christ in just the first half of the year. Tell me about
yeah.
that. Like, so
Hey.
you're equipping Christians, you're attracting non-Christians. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah,
What's happening?
I wish we could say that was part of the strategy, and we were just that smart, and we just were so in tune with God. The truth is, we didn't even intend on doing a response to the gospel because we were marketing it as a Christian event. So the assumption is that everybody who comes, they already love the Lord, and it's not necessary. Well, it was back in Orlando in that first year. I think it was Nick Vujicic was there, and so he said, "Hey, do you guys mind if I give an opportunity for people to respond to the gospel?" And we're like, "Sure." I mean, they're probably all Christians, but sure. Well, we had a few hundred respond. Since that time, I've had the opportunity to preach the gospel over the last couple of years, and we have just seen that increase. This year, up to date, of the time of us having this conversation, we're over 23,000 people have given their hearts to Jesus this year in 2025. There's something powerful happening. And it's not just in Life Surge, across the country, right? And it preceded even Charlie Kirk's situation, the assassination. We were seeing a swell of young people coming to faith, moms and dads coming to faith, the older people later in their life coming to faith. Life Surge is just, I think, part of something that has been unique. I say it's sovereign. I wish we were that good, had it all planned out. We knew exactly what God wanted to do. We were just trying to be obedient and say, well, hey, people are here. They're gathered by the tens of thousands. Let's make sure that no one leaves this place without knowing Christ as their Lord and Savior. And then the rest is just snowballed into something spectacular because people are coming to learn about finances, learn about investing, just learn about how to really grow in their own lives and careers. And they're bringing friends, bringing family members, some that they have been praying for years. And they're in that same environment, getting value in a way that I think opens their hearts to just be willing to listen. And then the gospel is presented and people are responding. It's really amazing.
Amazing. And it's not just in like the Bible Belt. It's in cities
No,
like
our
Los
biggest
Angeles.
Kyle,
City.
our biggest responses were Seattle, Portland, San Francisco. In San Francisco, we had over 1,400 people make a decision for Christ at that event. We were in, I don't recall the city recently, but there was over a 30% conversion. This 30% of the crowd made a decision for Christ. And I'm sure some of these people at some point maybe had some encounter with God or had some background, but couldn't honestly say, hey, I know that I'm right with God and I know I'm walking with God and one day I'll make heaven my home. I need to make that decision. And you know what I think part of it is in this environment? Because all day long we're talking about how to live kind of that best version of you, that God created you with these gifts and talents and skills. But here's the deal. We know that before the foundations of the earth, God said he created works for us to do. But how can we truly walk in the fulfillment of those works if we're not surrendered to Christ? If you're only a shadow of who you were created to be, if you're not surrendered to the lordship of Jesus. And so I think making that when that comes to full focus and to say, wait a minute, even if I live out and have a great life and a great family and make a great income, if I don't know Jesus, I haven't truly lived the very best version of what I was created to be. Not in without outside of a relationship with God. That message is penetrating the hearts of people, and they're just saying, "I'm ready to surrender. I want to be fully alive in Jesus."
That's amazing. And now you attract speakers like Tim Tebow, John Maxwell, Bethel Music. I mean, this is some pretty cool stuff. How do you get speakers like that? How do you connect with people like that?
Yeah, well, yeah, early on, I think it's that one of the benefits of launching in COVID that they were probably looking for an opportunity, and we were looking for great communicators. What's happened is that the message of leveraging your platform for the glory of God is important to these speakers. It's not about Life Surge. It's about the people that they're able to speak to. Every one of these speakers want to unlock the full potential of the people that are sitting in front of them. John Maxwell, I mean, he wants to see people grow in leadership. Tim Tebow is just he's an animal, right? From on the field, off the field, as a football player now, as someone who wants to reach the most vulnerable people on the planet, he is on mission and he wants to see people not just, make a great living, but to live it out with purpose. And that's true of all of our speakers. They have a greater desire and greater purpose beyond just their own platforms, but how do I help other people leverage their platform to truly make an impact? I believe that's the cry of everyone. COVID showed us that, and I hate even talking about COVID anymore. But it did refocus the country because people started going, "What's my purpose? Why am I spending all the time on the job or this? What am I really pursuing? Does it have deep meaning beyond the paycheck?" Well, if that's true of the world, how much more is it of people who are faith aligned, people who know that we serve a God for greater purpose, greater mission. And so I think that they also want to make those moments count. I think when you have a little time sitting on the sideline, not using your gift, when you get back to that stage, you want to make sure you're having maximum impact in the lives of people. I think that's why, and we provide a platform with a lot of folks gathering on a regular basis.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know that, Life Surge and, people are talking about it. You guys are talking about it. It's becoming like a global movement. Can you talk about that and why our nation needs this now more than ever?
Yeah,
together?
because primarily because without purpose, without real hope and direction in your life, there's a lot of frustration. And I believe when you have clear purpose and mission, it changes everything. It changes why you do what you do. It changes how you do what you do. The Benham brothers, who speak for us a lot, they make this statement, and I love it. They say, how you see yourself will determine how you behave yourself. So if I see myself as, well, I'm just a lawyer, or I'm just a banker, or I'm just whatever. Well, then I contextualize it as I'll clock in, I'll clock out, and then real life happens outside of that ecosystem. But when you understand that our work is our worship, I mean, we have an opportunity to live on mission in that context. Now, every person I engage, it's more missional. I see the eternal value of that relationship. It changes how I negotiate. It changes how I do business. It changes how I treat my employees. If I'm a business owner, it repositions everything. And so that's why I believe making such an impact, and we're seeing the growth that we're seeing and the importance of it. We really want people to understand that God didn't just call you to survive. Survive the 9 to 5, and then look, go to church on Sunday, make sure you're doing all those things are important. But your mission field, you spend so much day of your week out there in the marketplace. How do I maximize that? But it can't stop there. We want to go beyond that. How do I create margin? People get, especially the church, we get nervous about the concept of wealth creation, where the fear of pursuing riches or making the money our God. As believers, it's about stewardship. How am I stewarding all of my talents and abilities and skills for the maximum capacity that God has given me, and not just wasting it, squandering it? That's really what we're diving into deeper at these events.
Yeah. And so tell me, like, what is a typical, like, so they're one day events and with a
Mhm.
ton of great speakers. Talk to me,
Yeah.
like, is one speaker after the next, or is there workshops? I know there's like a
Yeah.
lot of things going. Talk to me about
Yeah,
like
we
what.
it's a combination. That's a great question, Kyle. What we do is you're going to have powerful worship. I mean, we've had Natalie Grant, we've had David Crowder, we've had Bethel on a regular, and Jeremy Camp, different ones. So there's going to be great worship, and then also there's going to be these powerful communication pieces. We also lay a very strong theological foundation about how we think about wealth creation and why, because there's a lot of hangups about money in the church. So we want to understand it's not a prosperity gospel, right? We don't believe in that. We don't just believe God's going to bless you just because. It's really about getting the skills and the knowledge and then stewarding them well for the glory of God. And so we also have moments throughout the day where we talk about that practically, because too often the church is over inspired and under equipped. We'll come out of events, man, giving shouts and Ed and God good and Holy Ghost chest bumps. But then what? What do I do with that inspiration? If that inspiration never turns into action, to what avail? It was a great gathering, and there might be some value, it makes you feel good, but what can you do with it next? And so we're just very passionate about equipping the body of Christ with practical tools. And that's why we have segments throughout that day that people can take it or leave it. Not everybody wants it, right? That's fine. But for those that are interested in kind of how can I create margin? That's for me, wealth is really margin, right? When I go to work, I earn a check. And that check pays bills and whatever. And if I'm a good steward of it, I might even create a little margin. But how do I multiply that? Right? God's the one who gives seed to the sower. That includes our paycheck, by the way. Every good gift comes from the Father above. Work is a blessing. But if I never take the time to take some of that seed and multiply it, put it in other formats that it can multiply and grow, then I'll never create the margin to have the opportunity to be as generous as I might want to be, or bless my family in ways I would like to. And too many people live too tight in that margin and never know. They just don't know. They don't have the financial literacy to understand how to multiply. So we think it's an important thing, and I think we've learned that if you're relied on one source of income, you're vulnerable. But when you can multiply and you can open that up, it just gives you the ability to do more than you ever thought possible for the glory of God. And that's what it's all about. Creation to provide for your family and promote God's kingdom on the earth. And if it's just about the income, it will become an idol. But if you're on mission to do something bigger with it, it has the opportunity to create vision around your family and your efforts that go far beyond you.
Yeah, like that prosperity with a purpose idea. Yeah, I like
Yeah,
that.
well, yeah, yeah. I mean, financial blessing and margin with purpose. I mean, prosperity is, we're all God said, I wish that above you would all prosper as your soul prospers. But it's, we can prosper without having a lot of finances. It's not so much about it's about if you have the capacity in a free country to learn something that other people have learned of how to take your resources and multiply them, whether that's through investing, whether it's through business venture, whatever. And God's given you an opportunity to live in a country where you're free to do so, and you have the skills, you can learn the skills to do so. If you're interested, we can help you do that. That's where, it's funny. Blessing often follows hard work. I mean, it's faith and wisdom, right? I can have faith, but it doesn't mean money's falling from the sky. I have to get the wisdom and the skill to know how to create those resources. And if I create them for the purpose of using them for God's glory, right? Missions or our local church or that local food bank, right? We're in the middle of a shutdown right now at the time we're filming this. People are looking for food. Like there is always going to be a need around us. I want to be positioned to answer the need when it confronts me, and not live so close in the in my daily bills and whatever that I just I wish I could help, but I got to pay for my mortgage. I got to do this. I think margin's okay. I think it's good.
Yeah, and really, I mean, if you think about it, Jesus commanded us, in the parable of the talents to multiply what he's given us,
Yes.
not to bury it, but to put it to use
Yes.
and he's expecting a
Yeah.
return.
And it wasn't just about money. It was really about responsibility, about growth, around stewardship. It has the parable of talents really had so much to do with understanding the master and understanding the resources he's giving you the opportunity and not squandering it. Right. It was more about the heart attitude of the servants than it was even the dollar amounts. It was about faithfulness. And that's what we want to teach people is like, look, God's called you to be faithful in whatever it is he's called you to do. And if he's called you to the marketplace, how can you maximize that? How can you be faithful in that? And that's really what it's about. The multiplier was commended, and we want to see people multiply for the glory of God.
Powerful. And, I want to just touch on this because, when I was looking into coming to one of your events, I was shocked by how low priced it is. It's not even, with that caliber of speakers and musicians, I was thinking, hundreds of dollars or more. And I know there are some different packages that you can do, but I mean, the entry level price is amazing, and it really is accessible. Talk to me about. I mean, that's good stewardship. I think, the fact that you guys are
Well,
able to offer
we're
this.
we're a business, right? We're
Yeah,
a for profit business. We are not a nonprofit. We have never raised one penny, not 1 cent to do what we do. So we're a for profit business that is boldly faith first, Jesus first. So we a lot of times we catch heat for mixing these two. I feel like why aren't we mixing it more? I mean, if you're a believer and God's called you to the marketplace, be bold and courageous in it. But yeah, we because we're an education company, we also provide opportunities for people to come in and be involved in education. We just don't want the entry point to be that the price is an obstacle. Come and learn, come and experience. We always want to keep giving more value than we take. And so that's our business model. And so, yeah, we'll also have opportunities for people to grow and learn. And in classes, we do 3-day classes. We also have extended learning and mentorship and education that people could choose to avail themselves to. But yeah, that's we want everybody coming to Life Search and whatever they get from it, right? They may never want to go to one of our classes, and that's fine. But we want everyone to leave inspired. We want everyone to leave more focused. We want everyone to awaken that sense of calling and purpose, getting families on the same page. Man, husbands and wives finally thinking together again to how can we maximize this season of our life. It's transformational these days.
powerful. And now what's coming up with Life Surge that you're excited about? How often are the events? Talk to me, like, what's on the horizon for you guys?
Yeah, we're this January kicks off. Like we're going to be in West Palm Beach. I think we're going to LA. We're going to be in some new markets like Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and other places. I'm very excited about that. We also have a national conference, a 3-day event coming up in kind of end of May, early April. So I'm excited about a lot of that. But what I really am excited about is how we're continuing to bring fresh faces and fresh voices to the Life Surge stage. So if we come back to cities, they'll get to see people maybe they didn't even see before. Not only that, man, because we're an education company, we're constantly building great platforms for our student side, which is outside of the life surge experience, but we have tens of thousands in that as well. So it's just watching the company mature, and kind of coming. We're only what 4.5, going on 5 years old, and so where we were, sometimes you don't know where God's bringing you until you kind of look back, and it can just be like in awe that you've even been a part of that journey. But really, just serving people at a high level. That's what I'm most excited about for the future.
Yeah, that's powerful. And then where can people find more information and connect with you?
Yeah, lifesurge.com. Go to www.lifesurge.com. If you go to our website there, you're going to see every city that we're going to. You're going to get to see some of the lineups of the people that you might love, that are going to be on the stage. We've had people, Fraser, Kelsey Grammer, people like Patricia Heaton, with Everybody Loves Raymond. So it's all these different, from sports and entertainment and business and ministry, all in one place. It's basically challenging the same thing. Go live your life with greater purpose and meaning. And then here's some things we can do to help you if you're interested in building resource. So I believe that, again, if they just go to lifesearch.com, you'll see all the events coming and some exciting ones coming up.
Awesome. Shawn Marcell from Life
Mhm.
Search. Thank you so much for your time today. Pleasure speaking with you, and God bless you guys. Appreciate all you do.
Thank you, Kyle.
Yeah.